Nahid Hemani, CRN is 33237. In today's speech, I'm going to be talking about cloning. The success rate for cloning ranges from 0.1% to 3%, which means that for every 1,000 tries, only 1 to 30 clones are made. Or you can look at it as if it's 970 to 999 failures for each 1,000 tries. I believe that cloning can actually do more harm than good, and I believe that God or any ultimate supreme power has the authority to create no mankind. First, I'll be talking about the first cloned animal, moving along to the risks, and ending off with where cloning stands today in the science field. In this picture over here, one of the sheep is named Finn Dorset, and the other one is its clone Dolly. In 1997, this made a huge scientific breakthrough, so I'll pass that around. Scottish scientists at Roslin Institute created Dolly the sheep. This was a huge scientific breakthrough, but it had a lot of ethical implications. Dolly was the first mammal to be cloned from an adult cell rather than an embryo. This was the only lamb born after 277 attempts, and scientists used the nucleus of an udder cell from 6-year-old Finn Dorset and used to create Dolly. So what exactly happened to her? Well, according to the American Veterinary Medical Association, she lived and mated and produced natural offspring, but at the age of 6.5, they had to euthanize her because of lung disease. They haven't exactly pinpointed what went wrong, but they're saying that it's lung disease. So is cloning still safe? A report by the National Academy of Sciences on the risks associated with animal biotechnology noted that few cloned embryos result in live offspring. So speaking of implications, this leads me to my next topic. According to the National Center for Research Resources, a high failure rate is an egg with a newly transferred nucleus that may not be able to divide or develop properly. Also, the implementation of the embryo into the surrogate mother might fail, or they might not even detect any problems until the clone is mature. There's also a high deficiency to organs. There's a high rate for infections, tumor growth, and other disorders. This leads me back to Dolly because scientists usually say that a sheep can live up to the age of 11 to 12, and they had to euthanize her at the age of 6.5 because of lung disease, and they couldn't exactly figure out what went wrong. So I think it may have to do with cloning because 6.5 to 11 to 12 is kind of a big gap. In any situation, you have to think about the ethical part. So according to the American Institute of Biological Sciences, cloning is not a natural birth. It's not a natural way of reproduction. If humans make babies rather than have babies, then are they playing the role of God? This also affects the child's social and health life. Legal scholars have argued that cloning may violate a child's right to an open future. A human clone also lacks necessary traits from their parents because it's not a natural reproduction, and they don't even know if the clone is even entitled to the proper parent or not. The biggest question that the general public raises is if a clone will even have a soul or not. Finally, after briefing you on all that information, I'm going to talk about where cloning stands today in the present. According to Fox News, scientists are thinking that rebuilt DNA, they found rebuilt DNA that can actually bring alive a Neanderthal from 4,000 years ago, and they found genes, and they're thinking that they can create him, and their main purpose is to ask him why or how humans came to be. Their biggest fear is that he will be mocked, or even if he's not and he fits into our modern society, will he be able to have liberty rights or not? Also in Europe, the committee rejected a cloned food plan. The country came up with an idea to have cloned food so it'd be beneficial to the country, but the committee actually rejected that food plan. And according to Green MEP Bert Stays, he says, "We don't want food from clones on our plates." He added that cloning causes unnecessary harm to animals, while its long-term health risks have not been sufficiently assessed. Overall, by talking about Dolly, the risks in cloning, and where it stands today, I believe that actually does more harm than good. I'm going to end off with two quotes, one from our past President Clinton and about cloning. He presented this speech about cloning in 1997 when Dolly first came through and his idea on that, and then I'm going to end off with what President Obama says today about cloning. In the past, President Clinton said, "Banning human cloning reflects our humanity. It is the right thing to do. Creating a child through this new method calls into question our most fundamental beliefs. It has the potential to threaten the sacred family bonds at the very core of our ideals in our society. At its worst, it can lead to misguided and malevolent attempts to select certain traits, even to create certain kind of children, to make our children objects rather than cherished individuals. In our present, President Obama said, and we will ensure that our government never opens the door to the use of cloning for human reproduction. It is dangerous, profoundly wrong, and has no place in our society or in any society. Thank you.